quick set of tutorials basically explaining to you guys how to play Mortal Kombat. And today I wanted to start off with button rotation. So button rotation is important to know because in certain combo videos that you're going to be seeing, and as well as in certain coaching guides that I'm going to be using in the future, there's a universal language that people speak in Mortal Kombat that's called, I'd say, the number system. The number system is basically just a placement on the controller, and these placements are going to be as follows. I'm going to be using the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 notations for this, and the position where X on the Xbox One pad and square would be is going to be 1, and the position where Y on the Xbox One pad and triangle would be is going to be 2, where X and A would be is going to be 3, and where B and O would be is going to be 4. Now that that's out the way and you guys understand notation, let's talk about something else that you should know at the very basic level of Mortal Kombat. There are certain things in the game. I'm kind of messing this up a little bit, but there is something you should know in the game called button notation. I'm so sorry. Called hit levels. Hit levels are basically where an attack lands in respondence with the opponent. For example, if I did Scorpion standing 1, it has a hit level of high. To any normal player, they're not going to understand what it means for something to have a hit level of high. Like, why is that important? At the lowest level of this game, why is it important for you to know that this move hits high? Well, I'll tell you why. High moves in this game actually do not hit ducking opponents. As you saw before, I did Scorpion standing 1 and it decked Sub-Zero right in the face. I'm mashing 1 now, as you can see, and it's not hitting him in the head. The reason why highs work this way is because highs are usually the fastest normals in the game. There are exceptions to this rule, but in the second part of the guide when I talk about what you do and frame advantage, you'll understand why that's important. For now, let's get on to the second level of hit. I'm going to set Sub-Zero back to stand here. I'm sorry. The second level of hit would be the mid attack. Scorpion's back 1 is a mid. It's a very good move. As you can see here, it has a lot of range on it. It's pretty decent on hit, but that's not important. Scorpion's forward 3 is also another example of a mid. The thing to note about mids is that they're usually what you want to go to in the event that you are hitting someone on block, or in the event that you are trying to establish maybe a hit confirm or something, because mids aren't going to be hindered by the simple duck mechanic. As you can see, Sub-Zero is ducking and he has to block this. I'll show you the back 1. He still has to block this. That does not change. Mids are gonna be your go-to when you're trying to establish dominance in the neutral game, when none of you have advantage. We'll talk about that in the second episode because it's very important for you to understand. But for now, I want you to understand that for the rule of thumb, if you're up close, you might want to be going for a high. And if you're more out here, you maybe want to be going for a mid. That way, the opponent doesn't end up ducking something and you don't end up getting punished for doing these actions. As we've spoken about highs and mids, I want to tell you guys about something in the game called a special high. There's only one case of this in the game, and it's all the throws in the game. As you can see, Sub-Zero is set to auto block, and right now he's not in the blocking state. I can't throw Sub-Zero in this state. on. But if I force him to hold the crouch, the block attack, like this, I can actually throw him. Special highs are made in the event that the opponent is actually blocking. Oh, so I guess all highs are not special highs. That's weird to talk about. But in older Mortal Kombat games, it didn't work like this. Even if you were doing that, you could be blocking, and if you weren't holding that, it wouldn't work. In any event, let's set him back to a normal position. Wait, where is his movement? Alright, there we go. Now we're going to talk about lows. Lows hit generally at the range of the leg. Lows are used for what we call mix-ups. Mix-ups are just what they sound like. If I establish a button here that does one thing, you're going to get used to me doing the pattern of doing that action there. I'll break it down in a further guide when I discuss neutral advantage and disadvantage in the next video. But for now, what I want you to understand is that lows are something that you should be going for in the event that you are trying to establish a bit of dominance or change the monotony of how you approach the opponent. So you're probably wondering, what's so special about lows then? As you can tell, the high is going to be something where if they're ducking just like that, they're going to get hit. And if they get used to you being at a certain range, maybe the opponent is going to duck at a certain area. Maybe you're doing highs, maybe you're doing mids. The opponent does not have a reason to crouch block. You have not established that fear into them yet. Right? So you're playing a match. You're trying to get the opponent. You're trying to open the opponent up. That is your goal at the end of the day. You're in front of their face. You want to try to make sure that they're doing something that you can actually hit them and get a combo off of, right? So we're gonna put him on stance here. Well, actually, we're gonna put him on stance hold. So you can see Sub-Zero as stand blocking. My highs are ineffective. My mids are ineffective. He's just gonna block them, and the best I get is chip damage. And it's his turn now. So, what can I do in the event that the opponent is stand blocking? We already established that there are throws that you can use. But maybe this guy knows that I have a tendency where if I walk over here, I'm not going to do a high. He's seeing me walk over here and do the throw. Right? So what he's going to do is he's going to stop doing that and then duck. Now my throws aren't working. I can mix this up. This is what we call a strike throw mix up, and I'm going to go more in depth with it the next time I do a tutorial on this, probably next week. But yeah, you can mix this up. So he is stand blocking as we established before. I'm going to put in the stand block and then put him back to stance hold. And I've already established a throw. He's gotten used to that. And I'm wondering, okay, so how do I open this guy up? My highs aren't working. My mids aren't working. These throws aren't actually hitting him anymore. This is where lows come in. Lows will only hit the opponent if they are not blocking or if they are stand blocking. If the opponent is stand blocking, your low will always connect and you can go for a full combo. Like so. Lows are good for two things, depending on what the character has. But before we can get into what lows are good for, let's talk about the last hit level in the game, or hit region in the game, the overhead. An overhead is an attack that must be blocked standing. We're going to set him to crouch block. As you can see, he's forced to crouch block, and he's not blocking that. If I set the AI to do all block, you'll see him stand block now. See? He's forced to block this in that manner. He is forced to block this in that manner. And what I'm establishing here is a pattern for him to duck. This is actually what we call a low overhead mix-up. In some cases, some people call it a high-low mix-up. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. That's a little bit trivial. Another thing for you to note is that all jump-ins must be blocked overhead. See? All jump-ins in every fighting game, or in most fighting games, I'll say, there's probably an exception to the rule, and somebody's going to comment that when they see the tutorial, are overheads. You must block them standing. You can use that information as a way to open your opponent up. Maybe you know they like to crouch block here. Maybe you never established the throw mix up here. They don't have a reason to do anything. And maybe your character just does not have an overhead that they can just resort to in the neutral. In that event, these are your go-to overheads, as well as another attack in the game called a hop attack. If you tap the up button on your controller, you get a shorter hop. As you can see, this is your full hop, and this is a short hop. If you tap that button and press either 3 or 4 to do the kick, or 1 or 2 to do the punch, it will result in an overhead. Your hops also go over lows. So I'll try. I'm not gonna be the best at demonstrating this, but I'll try to demonstrate it anyway. You guys gotta excuse me if I like mess this up. So yeah, I'm really not the best person to be doing this, but yeah. See, if I hop, I can hop over his low. And I can punish him, as you saw in the corner there, with an option from that stance. This is another way to get over lows, but I would not suggest it because it's basically you calling the opponent out. We'll talk more about callouts in the second second episode of this guide. But for now, that is all that I feel like teaching you about. It's not the best thing to say, but hey, you guys gotta come in and tune in for the next episode if you want to understand more about this stuff. If you're watching this from Facebook, be sure to subscribe to my channel at iNoob. It'll be in the comment section or on the actual description of this post. And if you're watching this from from YouTube, leave me a comment. Tell me what you want me to discuss. If you're an advanced player, what you want me to break down in the second part in a separate guide, or what you want me to break down in future episodes of this guide. In the second episode of this guide, we're going to talk about neutral, advantage, and disadvantage. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope to see you on the next one.